From the Clear Channel Studios, A Professional Edge by Sean G. Todd, tax attorney CPA and certified financial planner, is providing general information related to taxes, investments, and estate planning. This information is not to be perceived as providing individual legal, tax, or investment advice, as each individual's circumstances are unique. Being a listener does not create an attorney/CPA or an investment advisory client relationship. Each individual's personal situation is different, and seeking one-on-one advice with a licensed professional is recommended. Securities and fee-only investment counsel is provided through Schwab Institutional Member SIPC. This is Professional Edge, a program designed to help you understand the importance of getting counsel and advice from a licensed professional and help you appreciate the significance of being able to integrate your investments, tax planning, and estate planning into one cohesive plan to prevent an unintended consequence. We will be talking with Sean G. Todd of Estate Management Counselors, LLC. Estate Management Counselors, LLC is an independent fee-only investment management firm based in Atlanta with a satellite office in Columbus, Georgia that serves select clients throughout the country. Their goal is simple: to make sure their clients feel confident and secure about their financial future. Sean is a truly qualified professional. He is a licensed tax attorney, a CPA, and certified financial planner. He is also an adjunct income tax professor at the University of Georgia. One unique thing you might not know about Sean: he attends the National Rodeo Finals each year. We will be talking with Sean.
Good morning, Chris. How are you today?
Good morning, Sean. Doing well. How about you?
Good.
Good.
Did you tune in to the Kentucky Derby for Saturday in May?
I did not, no.
Most exciting 2 minutes in sports.
That was riding roller coasters.
It's called a Run for the Roses.
I was riding my roller coaster, Run for the Roses. How was it?
It was exciting.
Cool.
So,
I always hear people talk about it, but I've never done that.
We used to go to it every year. My wife is on this committee, and for a fundraiser for my daughter's dance school, and she is done this year, so we can now make the journey back to the Kentucky Derby.
Congratulations.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Yeah,
because it's been sort of this hiatus that we've been away, and it's just a neat event. It is one of those bucket list things that you got to do to go see, experience, because it is, from the grandstands, you see it on TV, the celebrities, some Arabians, Saudi Arabia individuals come over. So it's this mix of people. And then you go all the way down to me, the common person that just is there for the event and the day.
Nice.
So it's a great event.
It's good to get away and spend some time with the family and just have a good time.
Yes. So back to reality. We're going to talk a little bit about IRA owners and the things that they need to know as an IRA owner. And the reason why we say this, Chris, is because most IRAs or 401ks are the largest financial asset that listeners have out here. And they have about zero planning or zero understanding of what this actually can do or cannot do, how they can fall into the bear trap and actually lose half of their IRA.
Yeah.
Point blank.
It's not something you want to do.
No. So as a listener, stay tuned, because we're definitely going to give you some things that you need to know. But Chris, even if you know it, you have to implement it.
Right.
Okay? I can give you the touch keypad code to unlock the safe. And if you never put them in,
it's not going to open itself.
It's not going to open.
Nope.
Right? So I can give you the information.
But if you do have that code, can you?
He'll let you know.
Yeah, write it down.
A little slip of paper.
Yeah.
So this is the same thing that we're talking about. You're hearing this information during this show, The Professional Edge, and you know in the back of your mind you're not doing something. But then you know what? Lunch is served. Dinner served.
Yep.
It's Monday morning. It's on to the routine. So you got to take this information and actually implement it and apply it and take action on it. That's the key difference of a lot of our listeners out there. The ones that we get the chance to meet with, Chris, we look at it, we provide them with the information, and then they actually implement it. Because you and I both know everyone out here is busy with life.
Yep.
And doing this kind of stuff is not what they do every day. This is what we do every single day. Okay? So it's easy for us to implement that with the client's permission. So we say, you need to do this. We're going to get it done for you. we're going to do this.
Right.
We're going to get it done for you because we know this is what you need to get done.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the taking this information that you receive, the things you need to know as an IRA owner, and actually implementing those on your own personal situation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because as we go forward, we know right now 10,000 people, and I'm going to hone in on this for the rest of 2013. It's another stat.
It's still just hard to fathom that amount of people.
Right. 10,000 people per day are blowing out their 65th birthday candles. And it's not just for 2013.
Mm-hmm.
It is for the next 16 years.
Wow. It's hard to wrap your head around it.
Right. And do you think Social Security is under stress now?
Yeah, just
now,
wait.
Now,
right?
now put this number in a concept.
Mm-hmm.
Go 16 years, and everyone is surviving for 16 years. Look at the number of people that are going to get a Social Security check. 10,000 per day for the next 16 years. That is a lot of Social Security checks.
Have we done the math to see how many numbers that, or how many people it is?
I'll do that for next show.
Okay. I'm curious. I can't count that high. Because I know it's a lot.
So
it's just hard to wrap your mind around it.
Right.
It really is.
And these people turning 65, they either have a defined benefit plan, meaning a company pension, or they have now been the lucky recipient of these defined contribution plans, which are 401ks. So now the company has shifted that risk of putting away enough money onto the worker. Because before, underneath the defined pension plan, then the company has that obligation to continue. Right. Now think about this, Chris. As a company doing these defined benefit plans, they have actuaries that are running numbers on longevity and on risk and on rates of return for obligating the company to put X dollars away into this defined benefit plan. Okay? Now we have shifted to their contribution plan, defined contribution. They put X dollars in. That's it. They're done. They don't have any more responsibility. Now, who's doing the calculation on the longevity risk and the rate of return risk, on the portfolio and the sustainability of that? Not the 401k participant, not our listener out there.
No.
So whose burden is that now? It's actually on the participant, the employee. You know what? They're not running the numbers. Right. We're seeing it. So therefore, there is the impetus to make the call so we can run that number to say, you know what, you putting away X dollars per year for the next number of years that you work is going to provide you with the opportunity to make X dollars of withdrawals over your life. That number has to be run. And out of the individuals that are out here listening, Chris, it's a very, very small number that have actually sat down and run that number on what it's going to take to have them sustain their retirement.
Right.
That's the challenge, folks. The ones that are the smart listeners are making the call to Tina, 877-654-9798. Number again, 877-654-9798. Making the opportunity to get that number ran and understand the impact of their savings or under savings on what it's going to be in their retirement.
Right.
So make the call.
That's all you got to do. Make it much easier on you. Because if you keep sitting and waiting,
time is going along.
It's going to go, and you can't bring it back.
Time is the equalizer for all of us, Chris. It doesn't matter whether you have $1 million today or you have $1. Time is the same for everyone. It's what you do with that time that's the differentiator. So you got to put time on your side. So there's the other thing on getting individuals to act on the information on the need to knows as an IRA owner. But again, as an estate planning tax attorney, I say this because IRA things to know has to do with a lot of estate planning because it's the most valuable financial asset that most listeners have out there.
Mm-hmm.
And this, unfortunately, is not controlled by a will, not controlled by a trust.
Right.
It's controlled by a beneficiary designation. And real quickly, Chris, here's one thing they need to know. Is your beneficiary properly designated on your IRA or your 401k?
Mm-hmm.
Now, most companies, they'll sign you up and you'll put spouse first. Boom. Nothing on contingent. Husband and wife go out on date night.
Mm-hmm.
Severe car accident. Both of them don't make it home. Where does it go now?
State.
Goes. You've been listening.
Oh, yeah.
It goes to the estate. The estate does not, well, and let's say there's 2 kids at home, right?
Mm-hmm.
It goes to the estate, and the estate doesn't have a life. And you say, wait a minute, it doesn't have a life. It's got 2 kids back here at home. Well, unfortunately, the IRS says that you can't put these 2 kids on that contingent beneficiary line. So therefore, it becomes the estate.
Mm-hmm.
And if the estate has 0 measuring life, then by law, that IRA has to be distributed within 5 years, date of death. So this tax deferral strategy, you just blew it.
Mm-hmm.
And you collapsed it to pay the tax on all this money in 5 years. So now we got to get it distributed within 5 years. We got to add all this additional income in, and maybe for sure we're going to impact the tax rates on the beneficiaries.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing you need to know as an IRA owner. Is your beneficiary properly designated?
And if it's not, you need to fix it.
That's right.
Yep.
This is Scene Todd
And
with the
Chrissy.
Professional Edge.
As always, if you want to get in touch with Scene, good time to call 877-654-9798. 877-654-9798. The website to check out, emcadvisors.com. And you can also send in your question via email. Send that to info@emcadvisors.net. Coming up during the show today, we will have another giveaway.
Excellent.
We are just handing out stuff like crazy. So we'll have that before the show wraps up this morning. So be sure to stay with us. We'll have more of the Professional Edge right after this.
We've all thought about it. Everyone listening will need one. Not having one can cause untold heartache, family conflict escalating to the point of a lawsuit. One simple thing that avoids all that: an effective estate plan. As a practicing tax attorney, Scene Todd with Estate Management Counselors has completed over 1,000 estate plans during his 15 years of professional practice. He can help you implement an effective estate plan, coordinate your financial accounts, and make sure you have named the proper beneficiaries to maximize your tax savings. Call 877-654-9798 today and let tax attorney Scene Todd help you implement an effective estate plan. Call 877-654-9798 today. With today's financial markets, are you getting the personal and professional attention you and your money deserve? Clients of estate management counselors benefit from having one set of professionals advise them on their tax, estate planning, and investment advice. We call that the Professional Edge. Scene Todd is a tax attorney, CPA, and certified financial planner. With over 15 years' experience, he welcomes the opportunity to assist you in preparing for retirement, implement effective tax planning strategies, and to help you properly plan your estate. His radio show, The Professional Edge, is aired weekly on Sundays at 9 a.m. If you're interested in meeting with Scene, call his office at 877-654-9798. That's 877-654-9798.
I love the colorful clothes she wears and the way the sunlight plays upon.
Figured since it is the first weekend of May,
We're
getting
ready
into
for
the
summer.
Yes. We are eagerly awaiting its arrival.
Yes.
I guess. I don't know. As long as I have air conditioning and stay inside, I'm good. Because I can't breathe
When
with
it
my
just gets
asthma and the heat and humidity and all. It ruins my roller coaster adventures because I have to stop and use the inhaler to walk every 3 feet. But I enjoy the summer though.
Yeah. I like it a lot better than cold weather, for sure.
Yeah, we can do that. Hey, welcome back to the show. And as always, if you would like to get in touch with Scene, the number to call is 877-654-9798. Keep that phone number handy because we have a giveaway that we'll take care of before the end of the show. We might even do it here in a few minutes. You just never know.
Just got to stay tuned.
When the notion strikes, we'll do it. All right.
So we're back to IRA owners and the things you need to know. And some of the things, in 2013, the contribution limits is the smaller of earned income or $5,500 for individual listeners out there. Or if you're 50 years or older, then it becomes $6,500. So married couple, age 51 each, can contribute $13,000 total. But we also got to have earned income enough, and that's a term of art in the tax code. And it basically says that portfolio income or interest income do not count towards the contribution. So if you're fortunate enough to be a trust fund individual and you only receive interest and dividends, you cannot make a contribution to a regular IRA or a Roth IRA. So that's something you got to have. That is a earned income limitation. So another thing you need to know as an IRA owner is the required distribution date. At age 70 and a half, a IRA owner is required by law to take out their required minimum distribution. These rules used to be real complex, so now they're simplified a little bit. And one catch is if your spouse is 10 years your junior, then you have a different table. But other individuals, they use a uniform distribution table. A lot of individuals have this. They print it off. It's they've seen it in Money Magazine or on the web. It's pretty straightforward. So you take your balance the year before on 12/31, and this is all your IRA accounts, whether it's in the bank, brokerage, stock brokerage house, and you add those up, and then you calculate it on the factor. It's roughly 4%, Chris.
Okay.
And if you have a $100,000 IRA, that says $2,500 has to get out of that IRA by the end of that tax year, the following tax year. So 12/31/2013, we have until December 31st, 2014 to get that money out. We could take it out January 1, or we can wait until December 31st. We just have to have it out in that tax year. So you got to make sure that that gets taken out, because if you don't, the IRS will assist you in helping you get that out.
They would be more than happy to help you, right?
And if they help you get your required minimum distribution out, they will help you in the means of a 50% penalty.
Wow.
So back to our example, you were supposed to take out $2,500. You didn't take out anything. The IRS is just going to say, out of that withdrawal of $2,500, then you need to send us $1,250, 50% of what you should have taken out. So that's a definite need to know, need to put that on a calendar. You can't guess at it because the penalty is too egregious. Next thing, the strategy for IRA owners out here listening is they're going to wait until they're age 70 and a half before they take anything out of their IRA. Okay? If that's your strategy, we have definitely got to talk. And the reason why I'm saying that is because individuals are not taking advantage of their marginal tax rates while they retire up to the age of 70 and a half. And the reason why I'm saying that, Chris, is required minimum distributions cannot be converted into a Roth IRA. And we got to remember that the Roth IRA is what we call the magic bucket, because that account is not subject to required minimum distributions.
Okay.
So we have that aspect of it. The other aspect is that this Roth account grows tax deferred and the distributions are tax free. So when we take a distribution out of that Roth IRA, they are not counted towards our Social Security calculation on whether any or part of our Social Security is included in taxable income.
Okay.
So if your strategy is you're going to wait until age 70 and a half to take out your IRA distribution, you're probably not implementing an effective tax plan.
Okay.
So that's where, as a listener, you're seeing the different hats being put on as a tax attorney, as a certified financial planner, and as a CPA. Those are all three. So like I say, there's more letters after my name than in my name. So when we combine all those, then we're implementing the investment planning, which takes into account the tax planning. So therefore, the client is more proficient in what they're actually doing, and they're getting comprehensive advice.
Right.
So again, RMDs are required on regular IRAs. They are not required on Roth IRAs. So you can always make a Roth conversion, but you can't do it on your required minimum distribution amount. So if you wanted to do that and you're over age 70 and a half, you have to take out your RMD amount, and then you got to take out some more amount to make that conversion. So now your taxable income is far greater, and now more than likely more of your Social Security is going to be included in taxable income. So that is something you definitely don't want to do, is wait until age 70 and a half to start the distribution. And we can show those numbers to any of the listeners out here, Chris. Next one, if you have inherited an IRA, as the beneficiary on that IRA, you are required to take out a distribution each and every year. So we've seen where mom and dad have passed away. Dad passed away first. Mom put it in her name. Mom then passed away, and now the son has inherited that IRA. That son has a required minimum distribution allotment each and every year. So if they don't take it out either, and again, it's based on their life expectancy, the IRS will levy a 50% non-distribution penalty on that. So you definitely got to make sure that you're having that distribution taken out. It needs to be set up like clockwork, not guesswork, so that way you're not going to impose the 50% penalty on that. And then you say, do I actually have a retirement distribution strategy? Do I take it from my Roth IRA? Do I take it from my regular IRA? Do I take it from my after-tax account? If you don't have any idea where you're going to get this safe and secure retirement income stream that you got to have, then that's another reason to give Tina a call to sit down and produce that strategy and understand what the plan's going to be going forward to address inflation risk and also longevity risk on the distribution strategy. That way you have peace of mind to know. So, and if I knew the difference that if I withdrew $3,000 a month, Chris, that I'd run out of money, or at least I'm projected to run out of money in my mid-70s.
Right.
But if I reduce that amount to $2,500 a month, the projection shows that I don't run out of money until my late 90s. You know what I would do? I'd take the $2,500.
Yeah.
But a lot of listeners out here don't know what that impact can do and where that sweet spot is for what they can do in retirement to have a sustainable, secure retirement income stream.
Just a little bit of difference there goes a long way with it.
Goes a tremendous way, because we're not talking 1 year. We're talking 10, 15, 20 years down the road on what this impact is going to be. And that's where planning comes into shape, not just managing the investments and allocating the portfolio. This is actual real planning, sitting down and putting the plan in place. And being a certified financial planner, a CPA, and a tax attorney, all combined, we're looking at that succinctly to help our listeners move forward and have that safe and secure retirement. So that's one thing. And then as an IRA owner, we discussed the required minimum distributions. We've required beginning date is age 70 and a half. Now we got to look at your beneficiary designations. This is combining being a certified financial planner along with being a tax attorney, Chris. So we have the IRA beneficiary, and usually the spouse is named as the primary beneficiary. But what happens if that spouse passes away? Who is it going to go to? Well, if the spouse has it on their IRA, okay, and they roll it over to their individual IRA, and that spouse then gets remarried, who are they going to name on there?
More than likely, their new
husband
or wife
or new wife, right? So they then pass away. That money then rolls to the new spouse, could be husband number 2 or wife number 2.
Mm-hmm.
And now the kids say, wait a minute, that was dad's pension, dad's 401k that mom put in her name, and now mom has left it to husband number 2. Where's our share?
Right.
And you say, your share is not there.
It's gone.
It's to husband number 2.
Yeah.
And then you come back and you say to husband and wife, and we run through this scenario with our listeners that we meet with at the Cunningham Center, and we say, do you understand what can happen? And I walk them through, and they say, well, we didn't expect that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, that's fine. It hasn't happened yet.
Right.
So let's put in place an effective beneficiary designation on the IRA.
Mm-hmm.
So that can't happen. And they say, proceed.
Yeah. Got to protect it.
Got to protect it.
Exactly.
This is Scene Todd
Always good information.
with a professional edge.
Yes. The man of many hats. He has lots of good information, and we have more coming up. And speaking of that, have a giveaway.
All right, let's do it.
You want to do it now?
Yep, let's do it.
Well, let's give us a book. How about this? The Big Retirement Risk. It's a really good read. Think you'll enjoy it. Hardback book. Really packed with lots of good information. How about a free copy of that if you'd like one? Just call 877-654-9798. 877-654-9798. And Tina will make sure to get that in the mail to you.
And then now you have something to read on the summer vacation.
Mm-hmm. You can increase your knowledge.
That's right.
Exactly. All right. Stay with us. We'll have more of the show right after this.
As a tax attorney CPA for over 15 years, Scene Todd has implemented over 1,000 individual estate plans. He has recently authored an especially helpful guide, How to Unlock the Ultimate Estate Plan. This guide has helped many individuals to understand the benefits of an estate plan and how to avoid unintended disasters. Scene has made every attempt to write this in plain English. To receive this valuable guide, How to Unlock the Ultimate Estate Plan, call 1-877-654-9798 and request your complimentary copy today, or by emailing your request to info@emcadvisors.net. Do you want to feel more confident about making the right investment, tax, and estate planning decisions? Today, these decisions are more complex than ever. Have you thought about working with a professional advisor and not sure who to turn to? Not sure what qualifies one to be an advisor? Scene Todd is more than qualified as a tax attorney, CPA, and certified financial planner. Scene is with Estate Management Counselors. Estate Management Counselors operates as an independent fee-only investment advisory firm. They're dedicated to gaining a personal understanding of their clients' objectives and implementing professional counsel and advice to achieve those objectives. So take a second to talk with Scene Todd to learn how you can benefit from their multidisciplinary practice where they coordinate their clients' legal, tax, and investment strategies into one comprehensive and integrated plan to enhance and protect their clients' financial security. You can reach Estate Management Counselors and speak with Scene Todd by calling 1-877-654-9798. That's 1-877-654-9798.
Round, round, get around, I get around, yeah, get around, round, round, I get around, I get around, round, round, I get around.
All right, welcome back to Professional Edge with Scene Todd. I'm Chris East. Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate that a whole lot. If you want to get in touch with Scene, the number to call, 877-654-9798, 877-654-9798. Don't forget to check out the website, too. You'll find a lot of good information right there, emcadvisors.com. All right, Scene, let's get back into the show here.
All right, we're talking with IRA owners on things they need to know. And here was one stat I came across, Chris, and it says women in retirement. At age 65, women can expect to live, on average, an additional 20 years. In addition, many women will live into their 90s. This means that women should generally plan for a long retirement that will last at least 20 to 30 years.
Wow.
Women should also consider the possibility of spending some of those years alone. According to recent statistics, 42% of older women are widowed, 11% are divorced, and approximately half of all women aged 75 and older live alone. So as a woman listener out there, you have definitely got to address to make sure that the IRA, the estate plan, the retirement funding analysis is complete, because this is who we're talking about on the longevity risk, that people are going to live so much longer, to make sure that this portfolio, IRAs, brokerage accounts, have a sustainable retirement income stream for that safe and secure retirement. And these are the stats that are coming out, and that was U.S. Department of Health and Human Services running those stats. So back to the IRA owner on things you need to know. And we were talking about the beneficiary designation on IRAs, Chris, and it wasn't necessarily the primary beneficiary, but we showed, or we talked to listeners about where the children of the first marriage can get disinherited like a blink of an eye.
Right.
Because husband leaves it to wife, husband dies, wife takes it, she then leaves it to husband number two. Husband number two excludes the kids of the first marriage. Blink of an eye, we see it happen all the time. So the other thing that we look at, Chris, is the contingent beneficiary. Right. And we see this time and time again where husband names wife, wife is primary, and they name Billy and Jenny as the contingent, Billy and Jenny. But Billy, unfortunately, has passed away. So Billy has two kids. Husband passes away. Wife gets it. Wife now passes away. And she didn't change any of the beneficiary designations on this. Guess what? Because Billy's not alive, and that's all he did was put his two kids' names on this beneficiary form as contingent, Billy's kids will not receive Billy's share. They'll be disinherited. So you got to walk through that on IRA ownership. Are you potentially going to disinherit your grandchildren? And if your beneficiary has spouse first, two kids second, I can almost guarantee that if something happens to your one child, you will disinherit their children, meaning your grandchildren. So that's a reason to make the call to Tina, 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798, and have your beneficiary properly done. We can add some language to that, and that's where we're adding the language such as being a tax attorney and a certified financial planner, understanding what needs to be done on this to make sure that it goes to the right people and you don't disinherit your grandchildren. So proper beneficiary designation. Forget about disinheriting your grandchildren.
Right.
If one of your beneficiaries, your children, is a special needs child, and they're currently receiving disability payments, okay? Dad passes away, mom gets the IRA, and her designation is to leave it to the two kids equally, right? As soon as mom passes away, you just tainted the disabled special needs child eligibility requirements for government aid. So now you just screwed that up. So we have to, eliminate all those IRA assets from the special needs child, and then requalify for all this government entitlement. And as a listener, if your son, daughter is receiving these government entitlements, you know exactly what I'm talking about when reapplying for all these government entitlements is not an easy process. And you got to remember, you're not going to be here.
Right.
So who's going to help them apply for all those eligibility requirements to get everything back in place after this IRA fund is dispersed and used? So that's the other thing is, if you have that special needs child and you have them on that IRA as a contingent beneficiary, as soon as they get it, meaning the IRA owner has passed away, then they are disqualified. So there's a way around that to where we're not going to disqualify them from the government entitlements. It's not illegal, but you got to put it in place before you pass away.
Right.
Because once you pass away, it's done.
Mm-hmm.
And
Can't
now,
go back and change it.
No, you can't. So that's another thing that we got to look at. So we have disinheriting the grandchildren for IRA owners. Mm-hmm. Now we have if the beneficiary has special needs. And then the third major category is, Chris, how is this IRA going to come out to the kids when mom and dad are done with it? So let's say that there's no remarriage, so husband passed away first, it rolls over to mom, and mom lives another 5 years, she passes away, and the two kids are the beneficiaries. Mm-hmm. Okay? 93 days is what it takes a beneficiary to squander the inheritance. Mm-hmm. So let's think about this. Mom and dad worked the entire lifetime to accumulate this money in the IRA, and Junior is going to get this IRA now, and Junior is going to strip it out. Yeah. He will strip it out. Mm-hmm. So he's going to call the person in charge, and he's going to say, send me a check. But there's a better strategy than sending a check. And he'll say, send me a check.
Right.
So now Junior is going to strip out this IRA, hit the highest marginal tax bracket on his individual side, pay all the taxes, and maybe end up with 65 cents on the dollar because he blew it.
Yeah.
So now he's going to spend 65 cents on the dollar within 93 days, date of death. Your life, work, effort, gone.
Just out the door.
Just out the door.
Yeah.
So if you're concerned about that as a listener, what we do is we say we still want it to go to Junior and his sister in equal shares. That's fine.
Right.
But we're going to put this a little break on it to where Junior can't liquidate the whole entire IRA account for his share in one fell swoop. We're going to add a designated beneficiary trust as being the beneficiary on this IRA.
Right.
So now this designated beneficiary trust basically says that the surviving spouse can't name the new spouse as being the beneficiary. So we eliminate that of disinheriting the kids of the first marriage. So that's addressed.
Right.
The second thing that we can do with this designated beneficiary trust is that when mom passes away, dad, who's already been gone for several years, he is actually controlling where this goes, and he says, I want it equally to my two kids.
Right.
So now that's going to go to the two kids, but he can also put a break on and say, you have to take out the required minimum distribution, but anything up and above and over that is subject to X restrictions.
Right.
It could be you can take up to 25% of your earned income. So if Junior is sitting on the couch not doing anything, and he doesn't have a job, he can't take any more money out.
That's true.
But if Junior has a job, he's a productive individual, then he can take an additional distribution. So that's sort of known as like an incentive trust.
Okay.
So on this DBT, designated beneficiary trust, we then structure it so mom can't disinherit the kids by leaving it to husband number two. And when it goes down to the contingent beneficiaries, the kids, they can't strip it out and spend it and squander it in 93 days.
Right.
So that is the essence of what a designated beneficiary trust can do. And the reason why we use these, Chris, is because we're talking about the second largest asset in a client's portfolio. It's probably the largest financial asset that they have. And you know what? They're planning things with this asset based on a simple sheet of paper which says spouse first, kid second.
Right.
But they don't have any clue what the dynamics are on that distribution and how the kids will take that money, strip it out, pay the tax, hit the highest marginal rates, get a check, and spend it. And now your 30 years of work to put this money in there is gone.
Yeah.
93 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I see it happen.
I mean, you want your kids to enjoy it, but you also want them to have some money that they can live on and have a comfortable life instead of just going out and just blowing it on something and just
on depreciating assets.
Exactly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, if you got an IRA, get a designated beneficiary trust in place for that IRA.
Mm-hmm. They may get mad at you now, but they will thank you later on. Right.
Right. So these are things to know as an IRA owner. Stay tuned.
Yes, we'll have more of this coming up for you in just a couple of minutes. As always, if you'd like to get in touch with Scene, you can do that by calling 877-654-9798, 877-654-9798. Don't forget you can send an email. If you have a question, you can drop us a line, info, I-N-F-O, at emcadvisors.net. And also check out the website, too. You'll find a lot of good information right there for you to browse around, emcadvisors.com. More of the show right after this. Stay with us.
With today's financial markets, are you getting the personal and professional attention you and your money deserve? Clients of estate management counselors benefit from having one set of professionals advise them on their tax, estate planning, and investment advice. We call that the professional edge. Sean Todd is a tax attorney, CPA, and certified financial planner. With over 15 years' experience, he welcomes the opportunity to assist you in preparing for retirement, implement effective tax planning strategies, and to help you properly plan your estate. His radio show, The Professional Edge, is aired weekly on Sundays at 9 a.m. If you're interested in meeting with Sean, call his office at 877-654-9798. That's 877-654-9798. We've all thought about it. Everyone listening will need one. Not having one can cause untold heartache, family conflict escalating to the point of a lawsuit. One simple thing that avoids all that: an effective estate plan. As a practicing tax attorney, Sean Todd with Estate Management Counselors has completed over 1,000 estate plans during his 15 years of professional practice. He can help you implement an effective estate plan, coordinate your financial accounts, and make sure you have named the proper beneficiaries to maximize your tax savings. Call 877-654-9798 today and let tax attorney Sean Todd help you implement an effective estate plan. Call 877-654-9798 today.
Round, round, get around, I get around, yeah, get around, round, round, I get around, I get around.
All right, welcome back to Professional Edge with Sean Todd. I'm Chris East. Thank you so much for taking out some time to join us today for the show. We appreciate that a whole bunch. Don't forget to check out the website, emcadvisors.com. And as always, you can get in touch with Sean. Tina will more likely answer the phone if you're busy because you're a busy man. You wear so many hats. But they can call 877-654-9798 if they have questions, and they can get in touch with Tina, and she can help get that sorted out and get them over to you and get everything situated, right?
Right.
Yep.
And we have that office down here at the Cunningham Center.
Mm-hmm.
Great location, easy in, free parking, Chris.
That's even better. That's a bonus.
Yes. So we meet with individuals down here in Columbus, Phoenix City, over at the Cunningham Center. Great facility if you have not taken an event over there. But we make it convenient for our listeners. Mm-hmm. So jumping back into, as an IRA owner, the things that you need to know. We were talking about the RMD, required minimum distribution. We were talking about having a designated beneficiary. Hopefully all listeners out here know that you cannot name your estate, or you should not name your estate as being the beneficiary on your IRA, mm-hmm. because that collapses the stretch ability on that IRA mm-hmm. to no longer than 5 years after date of death. So that whole IRA has to be distributed out. Then we said, okay, how can we protect from disinheriting our grandchildren on that IRA, or even disinheriting our children on the IRA? Mm-hmm. And that's where we implement a defined benefit trust, or a designated beneficiary trust, a DBT. Mm-hmm. And it basically says when spouse passes away, it goes to the other spouse. The other spouse can use it all, take the required minimum distributions. But if that new spouse comes into play, our surviving spouse can't name the new spouse as being the primary beneficiary on the first spouse is passing. Right. Now, if you followed me that while you're driving, you probably ran a red light. So it basically says that the surviving spouse can't leave it to the new spouse.
Gotcha.
They have to leave it down to the kids of that first marriage. Therefore, you're not going to disinherit them. Mm-hmm. The other application of the designated beneficiary trust is that we can structure it to where if you have a child that is receiving special needs benefits, that they will not disqualify themselves by receiving this IRA when the surviving spouse passes away. That is a significant planning tool that most people don't see, don't utilize, and for some reason don't implement it because they don't know it exists or they haven't planned that next what-if scenario down the road. Mm-hmm. So those were some of the things that we were talking about on IRAs, things to know. And jumping over to another side, Chris, on helping our listeners understand the advantage of having a CPA, certified financial planner, and tax attorney all at one focus looking at their situation, okay? Mm-hmm. And we met with an individual down here at the Cunningham Center, and, you know, I'm not disclosing names or anything, but it's an older gentleman, 70 years of age, and he had done very well. And he came in and put down his investment portfolio and, you know, just gave us some raw numbers. And I said, how do you think you did last year? And he, you know, real proud, put his chest out and said, well, I got 9% last quarter. Mm-hmm. And I said, really? 9% last quarter? And he was thinking that I was going to congratulate him on the 9%.
Right.
And again, you got to remember, he's 70 years old, okay? So if he's getting 9% for the last quarter, he received the market rate of return for the S&P 100 index because that returned a little bit over 9 for the first quarter. Mm-hmm. So you got to think, okay, if he has a diversified portfolio, then he's got a split of, let's say, 60-40, 60% stocks, 40% bonds, right? Mm-hmm. Or he should have. Well, if he's got the bond portfolio and it's investment-grade corporate bonds, those are flat for the quarter. So 60% of his portfolio, which was in the market, had to get greater than market rates of return in order for this entire portfolio to get 9%. Okay? So the only way you get better than market rates of return, Chris, is taking more risk.
Right.
So now he's got this over-risky portfolio if it's balanced 60 investment equities, 40% bonds, because bonds are flat. Mm-hmm. So now he's got this extreme risk on the 60% for a 70-year-old. Doesn't make sense. And as a listener out there, if this is you, you got to reduce that risk. Remember, you're 70 years old. You're done trying to accumulate more.
Right.
More. Well, you got to switch. Now you're a conservator of what you have, and it's got to last 20 plus years. And taking this level of risk in that portfolio when you're 70 years old is absent-minded.
Yeah.
Now, here's the catch. He has a broker, and that broker helped him get this 9%.
Yeah.
Well, that broker is exposing him to undue risk. But that's not the broker's responsibility. Because remember, stockbrokers only have to give suitable recommendations, not in the best interest of the client recommendations.
Gotcha.
As a fiduciary, as an RIA, registered investment advisor, which we are one, and I'm glad to be one. So you have this 9% return for the quarter, and he thought it was tremendous, which it is. But when you look back at it very objectively, 9% for a 70-year-old on his portfolio for the quarter, somebody's not doing their job.
Right.
Okay? So we have that issue. Okay? Keep that in the back of your mind, Chris.
Okay.
Then He also has some property that he allows people to go hunt on. Okay?
Okay.
So he owns that in his individual name. Now, meeting with him, he just had his wills updated a couple years ago. Okay? Working with an attorney. And I said, all right, that's fine. That's great. Congratulations, you're not one of our statistics that we talk about. So now we got the will updated. Everything's fine. And I said, how long do you own this hunting property? Oh, we've had it 15 years. And I said, explain to me what you do. Well, I lease out a couple interests to allow people to come hunt on this property. And I say, okay, that's fine. And I say, how do you own the property? And he says, this is my individual name. I said, okay. All right, so you got the stockbroker over here, run the money, undue risk.
Right.
You got the lawyer who just got done doing the wills. Now, do you think that lawyer talked to the stockbroker?
Absolutely not.
Probably not, okay? But here's the edge that can happen very quickly.
Okay.
What if you're on the hunting property, I'm on the hunting property, I didn't know that you had a lease on this hunting property, and I thought you were a deer. Lo and behold, pow, bang, you're dead. Oh, you're not a deer. Now what happens? How was the property titled? In his
name.
Individual name, right? So therefore, remember that stock portfolio over here that's aggressively earning 9% for the quarter?
So that opens that up to
that liability. So now we have, it doesn't matter what the rate of return is on that portfolio, because we're looking at a wrongful death claim on the property, because he didn't screen or schedule who was going to be on the property at certain times. He didn't say you get from October 1 till October 31st, and the next person gets November 1st to November 31st or November 30th. So he's negligent. So now you got a wrongful death claim. So he's exposed all the assets over here in the brokerage. But remember, he just got done telling me that the lawyer just updated his estate plan 2 years ago. And he's had this property for 15 plus years.
So didn't put anything in there for the property.
Didn't protect it. So now, let's say the claim is filed. What's the stockbroker going to say? I'm over here doing stocks. I'm over here doing stocks. That's not my responsibility. That's not my job.
Yeah.
Accumulation and preservation. Got to be a conservator. Got to forget about picking stocks and saying, how can I protect this for the client?
Right.
So the stockbroker is going to say, that's not my job, right? Because he knows there's liability there. And he's going to say, I just run stocks. That's it. What's the lawyer going to say?
It's going to get confusing now.
Well, the lawyer's going to say, well, I just did your estate plan. I planned how these assets were going to go to the people, your kids, your wife, and everything else. So the lawyer's going to say, well, that wasn't my job.
Yeah. He should have been doing this. It's finger pointing now, isn't it?
Yeah. And then I come in and I say, you know what? I understand stocks. You're too risky. That's number one. Number two, your will, that's fine. If it's updated, that's great. But here's the crux. You have exposure that you can't even comprehend. It's hunting property. Accidents happen. Talk to Dick Cheney.
Yeah.
Right? So it was, I was dumbfounded. He's got over excessive amount of risk in the portfolio to get 9% for the quarter. Thought he was doing good.
Yeah.
The lawyer did the estate plan, but yet you let the gate open for a multi-million-dollar lawsuit that would extract all that 9% gain in the blink of an eye.
Yep.
And that's the professional edge on putting tax planning, asset protection, financial planning, and tax planning together. It's a unique combination, and hopefully the listeners will heed that advantage with the professional edge.
Yeah, and they need to call you. 877-654 9798. Well, Scene, I enjoyed the show today. Learned a lot of good information as always.
Absolutely.
So looking forward to next week. And what you got on the agenda
for next week?
Or do you have your notes with you?
Let me get to it. They're all, man, if you could see this desk, they're all over. For next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about planning for a safe and secure retirement.
All right. Sounds good. Hope you have a wonderful week. And
you too, Chris.
We will catch up with you next week, same time.
We've all thought about it. Everyone listening will need one. Not having one can cause untold heartache, family conflict escalating to the point of a lawsuit. One simple thing that avoids all that: an effective estate plan. As a practicing tax attorney, Sean Todd with Estate Management Counselors has completed over 1,000 estate plans during his 15 years of professional practice. He can help you implement an effective estate plan, coordinate your financial accounts, and make sure you have named the proper beneficiaries to maximize your tax savings. Call 877-654-9798 today and let tax attorney Sean Todd help you implement an effective estate plan. Call 877-654-9798 today. With today's financial markets, are you getting the personal and professional attention you and your money deserve? Clients of estate management counselors benefit from having one set of professionals advise them on their tax, estate planning, and investment advice. We call that the professional edge. Sean Todd is a tax attorney, CPA, and certified financial planner. With over 15 years' experience, he welcomes the opportunity to assist you in preparing for retirement, implement effective tax planning strategies, and to help you properly plan your estate. His radio show, The Professional Edge, is aired weekly on Sundays at 9 a.m. If you're interested in meeting with Sean, call his office at 877-654-9798. That's 877-654-9798.